Hello and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So today I'm going to be talking about gold making, and specifically an excellent little farm spot that I found in the Bastion of Twilight. Now there's one important note before we get into this video. I use gold per hour as a metric because it's kind of nice for comparisons. However, you're only going to be able to do this for 10 minutes an hour because it involves entering the instance, clearing some stuff, leaving, and then resetting again. So while this video might be like, what, 10k an hour, yeah, you will be able to make that, but you just won't be able to go for a full hour at a time. Now that said, 1 to 2k in about 10 minutes of work is pretty darn nice all the same, so let's get into it. Now the actual farm spot is located in the very first room of the Bastion of Twilight. You just go into the first room, you pull everything, and then you kill it. The main thing that you're going to get here is Ember Silk Cloth. Now Ember Silk Cloth usually sells for about 1 gold and 74 silver on most servers. That's according to WoD, which uses the Undermined Journal as its source for in-game pricing, so that's quite an accurate number. Now you might be thinking, hang on a second, Ember Silk, why the hell are we using that? Well, Ember Silk bags. Now, even if you don't know how to create them because you're not a tailor, it's still pretty useful. That's not where this ends though. I found that in a 10-minute run, I got from maybe 250 to 300 gold of just raw gold drops, just off the mobs, which is pretty decent in of itself. And on top of that, you can get BoE epic items from here. Now, of course, they're pretty useless in terms of stats, but they sell okay in the transmog market. Because they're decently common, they usually go from about 200 gold to 500 gold. In the particular example that I'm doing here, I actually got 2 world drops. One of them was a trinket, which basically is worthless because, well, obviously it's not a transmog item, and the other one was a sword, which I kind of lucked out on. It's worth about 500 gold. In a previous run, I got, I think, a leg piece, and it was a leg piece and like a breastplate or something like that. So you're going to get a lot of BoE epics here. One important thing to bear in mind with those epics, though, is that it can take quite a while for them to sell, so I just think it's important in a gold guide to be really realistic with you. Yeah, sure, there's a big flashy title in the video, because it is truthful, you do make that much gold per hour here, but, you know, you're not going to make that instantly, and that's really gold per hour spent farming. That doesn't take into account the time you're going to have to put into the auction house, or perhaps even crafting. However, if you're like me, you will have an auctioning alt that you just do auctioning on anyway, so something like this is pretty fine to just integrate into your pre-existing gold-making strategy. Now that all this waffles out of the way, though, it's time to talk about 1 or 2 little optimizations. So first of all, any source of speed that you can get is awesome here. It took me 11.5 minutes, roughly, to do 10 resets of this instance, and you can do 10 resets per hour. Now, I can get that down to 10 minutes, or I think you would be able to. I was using post-haste because I'm a hunter with disengage. However, if you've got, say, the rocket boots or something like that, I'd say that you will easily be able to do 10 runs of this in 10 minutes. So for the sake of all the maths that I'm going to do in this video, we'll assume it takes 10 minutes to do a full, complete run of this place. Now, once you're inside, just gather up the mobs in whatever way is best for your class. Personally, I found, at least later on in my run, that it was best to sort of pull everything at once with Barrage, and then move into the right, and that way I could sort of form up a nice little clump of mobs, and then I could just loot all of those guys, then loot the ones that died to the left, and exit the instance. I found that was a handy little optimization. But that's really it. You just go in, you clear the first room, and you leave again. Nice and simple. So now that the run itself is covered, it's time to talk about numbers. In this run, I got a total of 257 Ember Silk Cloth. If I multiply this by 1.64, which is the number I'm going to use for the value of a raw Ember Silk Cloth, that's 420 gold worth of cloth. I then got 300 gold, just, you know, from the mobs that I killed, then 30 gold of vendor trash, and 500 gold for the value of the soul blade. That brings the 10-minute total up to 1,270 gold, roughly, in and around that. So if we extrapolate that out to an hour, it's 7,620 gold. But wait, there is more. Ember Silk bags are a thing, and they sell for, I think it's on average about 450 gold across all servers. I'm just going to use 400 as a number here because, again, I like to lowball it a little bit to just take into account for, you know, stuff. Now, I got 257 Ember Silk Cloth, which is enough to make 51 Ember Silk bolts. Now, an Ember Silk bag costs 15 Ember Silk bolts, and just for the sake of having nice, easy maths, let's just say that I'm able to make 3 Ember Silk bags at a total of 45 Ember Silk bolts. Now, the only thing is there is one other, item that you need for the Ember Silk bags, and that is 15 Hypnotic Dust per bag. Hypnotic Dust can be extremely expensive at about 10 gold a pop, though. Now, it's still quite profitable to make them even at that, but let's just assume that you have some way of sourcing your own Hypnotic Dust. And we're going to say that a bag, as I said, costs 400 gold. So, if in 10 minutes you can make enough Ember Silk cloth to make 3 bags, then that brings your 10-minute total up by 700 gold, roughly, to about 2,000 gold, which equals about 12k an hour, which I think is a pretty damn nice number. Personally, what I've been doing is just hopping on, doing this, maybe 1 or 2 times a day, just in between doing some dungeon runs on my other characters, and I found that just passively it's made me quite a lot of money, and it's been a very, very successful way of making gold. This, in combination with a few other things, actually, has got me from about 66,000 gold to 110,000 gold, roughly as of now. That's really it for the video, and I will be sharing some other tips that I have once I just do a little bit more research and figure them out a bit more. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.